Now to talk a little bit more about health care and other matters, I'm joined by former Secretary of Commerce, Carlos Gutierrez. Secretary Gutierrez, good to have you join us this morning.
Pleasure, Carlos. Good name.
I was going to compliment you. My mom always said we only give that name out to really good, smart, handsome guys.
Great.
So
Thank you.
At least in your case, you got it right. Secretary Gutierrez, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the economy first. I wanted to ask you about the recession. Bob Herbert, the New York Times columnist, talked about the unemployment numbers masking a far more worrisome reality, called it a scary reality. How concerned are you that despite all the good news on Wall Street, that we're not doing enough to turn the unemployment picture? And what do you think we can do right now to get that number down from 9.5% closer to 5%?
Yeah, my concern, Carlos, is that we're going through a first wave of the recession, and we may well be, leveling out. The problem is now we have to deal with the big problem in front of us, which is the deficit. Are we going to take care of that deficit by increasing taxes to the point where we cripple the economy? How are we going to incentivize businesses to invest when our tax rates are extremely high? And we know that, this isn't over yet, because on top of the deficit, we do have this $1.5 trillion health care plan that's being debated. So my concern is what comes next, where do we go from here, and is there a second wave that we're going to have to deal with?
But Mr. Secretary, what would you say, though, to people who previously had jobs that paid them $30,000, $40,000, maybe more, been out of work, their unemployment benefits are running out, they're looking at best part-time work, and some of them are completely discouraged. I mean, what I just heard you seem to suggest was that the deficit's in such a bad place, we may have to write it out. Are there not additional actions, both as a former cabinet secretary and as a former CEO of a Fortune 500 company, that you'd like to see the Obama administration or others take in order to really change that unemployment number in the short term?
Yes, I would, Carlos. And I think it starts out strategically by recognizing that jobs are created by businesses, by the private sector. So I think we need to look at business taxes. We need to look at small business taxes. We need to look at reducing the tax rate for capital investments. It has to be a focus on businesses that create jobs. If you look at what we are focused on today and what the brain power of the government is going toward, it's government involvement in health care. It's a cap and trade system. So I don't believe that the focus is on how do we incentivize businesses to invest more so that they can create jobs. We could be focused on the wrong things. I believe we're solving the wrong problems. So it's a matter of strategy.
Secretary Gutierrez, we're watching live pictures of President Obama walking towards Air Force One. He's getting ready to get on the plane and head up to New Hampshire for the first of a series of town halls this week on health care. What do you make as you watch these town halls, including what was at best a vibrant exchange this morning that Senator Arlen Specter had, and some would say even a scary exchange he had? What do you make? Are you concerned at all that people are crossing a line in these town halls?
I think actually, this is a great country, and we are seeing a process unfold. And I think what's happening is that, how do you sell or how do you convey a 1,400-page plan to people and get them engaged? This is a government for the people, by the people, but we're dealing with something tremendously complex. What the American people have heard is, very positive talking points about this system, but they haven't heard risks. And I think they deserve to hear, look, we're spending $1.5 trillion on health care. What if it goes wrong? What are the pros and cons? What are the things that can go wrong? Because things do go wrong. In the absence of that, people are filling in the vacuum with a lot of, tactical discussions on what's going to happen to the aging population.
Right.
I think we really do need new forms of transparency, new forms of getting information to the American people. But information isn't just doing a sales job. It's pros and cons, risks. What are we really getting into?
Secretary Gutierrez, I love that point. And in fact, I would love for you to come back and join us either later this week or early next week to do precisely that. I think that's an important point. I 100% agree with you that part of the conversation should take place and has not taken place. I love that point. Thank you for joining me, and again, congratulations on the first name.
Thank you, too.
Good to see you. For more on the hot button issues we're discussing today, check out our website, carloswatson.msnbc.com. And